The idea that women steer how we move in all aspects,
Yes.
for all intents and purposes, for vagina seems
Yes.
highly problematic
Why? If
because
the
Not
world always
problematic.
functioned like that, why are we going to change now? We
exactly, and
fought wars. We invaded countries. We took from people just
well,
to guarantee that we reproduce with the woman of said tribe. If the world functioned that way
it
for
was
thousands of years, why now is a problem?
you
Because
have
we're lowering our
spoiled.
standards. We're lowering our standards in society. We're making
No,
our
they're
nation.
lower their standards.
No.
No, they lower their standards, not us.
You want to
Yeah.
finish what you were saying, Joshua?
Men are lowering their standards by adopting these simple concepts. An example: our principles have gone to absolutely jack shit just in the last 20 years. Here's an example.
Hmm.
Risky popped up and was talking about principles one day.
Yes.
There was like, I want to say there was 5 or 6 guys on the panel. Only 2 of them, Risky and KG, were willing to actually literally claim they'll punch a dude in the face over the N-word. Everybody else boiled it down to, I'm not going to do anything because it's going to come with a cost. Like, I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to do whatever, that stuff like
And what's the
that
problem
is-
with it?
because it's too many people basically not willing to do anything. And if nobody's willing, if a very tiny portion of the population is the only amount of people that are willing to do something, at some
Yes.
place it breaks and that standard goes down. The
Okay.
reason why everybody's throwing these words around is because there's not enough people fighting it off.
Why should I go to the hospital or to my grave?
But
To,
the-
like, listen, like we have these with, oh, you beat up my sister. My sister calls me, tells me a bullshit story. I'm crashing out for her, and now I either go to the hospital or I go to the morgue because she told me something. People need to assess danger. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to punch this motherfucker on the face? Let me just change this, angry man. If you are like, listen, Amp said it before. He already said the word. He already said it, that a word is not coming back to his mouth. There's nothing I can do to open that motherfucker mouth and put a word like close it. He already said it, so I will actually make an assessment of what's going on in front of me and see, is it worthy to punch him in the face or not? That's how most people should act. What's the problem with that?
But the problem with what you're saying, Joshua, and you said it earlier, but this was the part that was left out. When you look at men and men's duty and men's principles and all of those things, what you're looking at today when a man does that is what I call membership without benefits. Now, you said earlier that people only want to do things because there's something that comes with it. Well, guess what? Back in the day, when men used to do the things that they did, men were kings. Men were able to like back in the day, if a guy, paid every bill and all of that, guess what? His wife couldn't talk shit to him in that house. If she said something crazy to him, he could be like, man, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear that shit. And guess what? She had to shut up. And guess what? She couldn't hop on the phone and call the police, and the police show up and kick you out of your house that you paid for. So in this day and age, men do not have the ability to be men, but they're still expected to be men.
Am I missing something?
I can't agree
here?
with that. I can't agree with that.
No,
Men
you're
don't
not.
have the ability
You
to
are
be
not.
men. I like being a man. You just have the ability to be a man.
No.
What do you mean by that in particular?
No, you
no,
don't.
Enforce.
No.
Enforce.
Let me be clear about it.
Swear
Let me-
that
let
we're
me-
talking about reasons
Let me
that
let me
they
be
can't-
clear. Let me be clear, okay? Because what you're doing, Zoe, is you're doing that same shit that the women do to the men, which
See, now
is
you
you're
immaculate
clarifying.
terms. It's like, Jesus
which-
Christ.
what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is you're not treating the men. You're not humanizing the men. What you're doing is you're making them some sort of mindless
I'm
terminator.
using myself as an example.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
What you're doing is you're making them some sort of mindless automaton that just has programming, and they have to just operate within that programming. And the problem is women are using that against men. Well, you're a man, you're supposed to do this. Give me the women equivalent of that.
I'm not arguing that women aren't weaponizing that against men. I'm more standing on what Joshua was saying, that a man is a man based on the fact that you have principles that you go for and you just stand on them regardless without it being transactional. There's a benefit to it being there's a benefit to it being transactional, but being able to say, like, well, you know what, I'm going to stand on this on my honor as a man is a thing that men do, and then you have the ability to do that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to weaponize. I'm not trying to weaponize it against men. I'm making that point.
Bro, men have always had incentives. There have always been incentives. We want to sit here and pretend like they're not. Men have always had incentives, okay? What are the incentives? If a dude goes off to war and he comes back from war, he's praised. He's a war hero, okay? There's always something that a man gets for being a good, what we call a good man or whatever, right? Yeah, the problem is in this day and age, the men don't get it. Men are not revered anymore. Men are not respected anymore. Men are not treated with dignity. You can look back in history at your grandfather. Did you ever see your grandmother curse your grandfather out to his face?
Nobody.
Probably not.
Grandfather out to his face.
Probably not. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, what I'm trying to say is that when I say they expect a man to be a man, I mean in his duties, but they don't want a man to be a man in his authority. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm very clear on that part, and I was saying that in the chat all night. Was that the authority has to be there for there to be any chivalry. That's why, and this is where I was going to disagree with you earlier on, was a matter of when you take it back from that time frame, from the 1600s to 1800s or whatever, and you say that at night it wasn't all men, it was one specific class of men who was chivalrous that set an example that lesser men followed if they will or if they won't. And that class of men, the knights, when they were chivalrous, it was to a certain class of women. And that if we're going to have the negotiation now, which is what I thought Lauren was asking earlier, when you said, Angry Man, that we were supposed to have a good faith conversation about it, was that well, how do we make these separate classes today? Because it's no different to me in my mind from chivalry being a dead language like Latin. It's like but the problem something now to create a standard or to talk about what those standards should or shouldn't be. And that's
here's where the problem.
Go ahead.
But here's where the problem is. Sometimes we get into the debate amongst the men that we totally ignore the part that women are saying, right? So the problem with this, and you illustrated it perfectly, but the problem with this is the women of today expect all men to be those top tier men. They expect all men to be chivalrous. They expect all men to be leaders. They expect all men to do all of these things, in addition to the fact that they don't believe they have to be a certain class of woman to even get that type of man.
Maybe I was messing up here because in my mind, because I already had it framed the way I had it framed before, I wasn't looking at it as they really want all men, even if they say all men. I just looked at that as like a semantic thing. I looked at it as the men who are here right now act as if you were like, put yourself in a position as if you guys were knights and it was just you guys, not anybody else, and say what it is that you would want. For example, for me, what I would do is I would say if 50% more women wore sundresses in the summer, I would hold the door open for 50% more women. I would do like something, whatever, where it's like a rule where I get a benefit. I like seeing women in sundresses. They want the door held open for them. Something where it's like transactional.
We are operating on the fallacies of.
No, it's fantastic.
They are operating on the fallacies.
Yeah, hold on. To get teased, that's not really a benefit.
Yeah, but that was a poor example. I wasn't trying to make it.
We understand what you're saying.
Let me go off the fantastic, please.
But the only thing is, after Fantastic goes, we got back to the women somehow. Josh was not talking about no women. And his point, we need clarity on what Josh is saying because nobody has still yet to debunk what Josh was saying.
Okay, it's easy.
You see how Yana? Yeah, take the heat off of us. Put it back on the men.
We've been talking about women for 3 hours.
It's easily debunkable because again, everybody in life, every human being does something to get something. The whole world is fucking quid pro quo. Your job is the best fucking situation. You make a duty and a pledge to do your job, right? If your job stops motherfucking paying you tomorrow, you might show up the next day, but I promise you by that third day, you're not getting no motherfucking money, you're out of there, okay? Men are fucking keeping up their end of the contract, and the fucking other side is not. A man that continues to fucking do something that he should receive something in return from is a fucking fool. You're a fool. You're a sucker. You're a trick. You're a simp. You're a dummy. You're a beta. You're a coward. If you just keep doing it, especially for another person or group of people, and you get nothing in return for it, eventually you will stop. Eventually you will burn out. This is not my fucking opinion. This is a fact. It has been done. You've seen people plenty of times say, hey man, I gave my heart and soul to this shit, and y'all go do this, I'm out. Men do it all the time.
Let me ask a couple points for clarity, right? So, Mr. Fantastic, when I was coaching football, I guess you could say it was fun. So, is that a good enough return? Because we got like a little stipend, but it wasn't hard. You spend way more on the kids than you do, right? But you coach them, you see them do well. Do you deem that return?
It's not the fun.
No, it's not. Yeah, you're not doing it for the fun. You're being disingenuous. You're doing it to train the kids and the connection with the kids. Of course,
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's all it's like it's not anything tangible per se, right? It's
but this is what you're saying though. The kids are receptive. So, Hamp, that's a perfect example. Okay. You're getting repayment for the kids actually listening to you and you making a difference, and you can see it.
So
okay, wait, before y'all go in, because I don't know if I can't concede it yet for that, right? But you say that's what I'm saying. I get a return because I like it, right?
No. Not only do you like, not only the fact that you like it, you know that what your intention is being met. The whole point of you coaching is to coach, right? You literally said it earlier. I don't know if it was earlier today or at some point in time. You had to cuss the other coaches out because they weren't teaching them shit.
Yeah, and so it's rewarding, or I'm doing a duty. Like what? How do you surmise it?
Well, that's you said it yourself. You literally said yourself earlier verbatim.
That's a great example.
Wait. I don't need help. You say you got 3 kids going to the NFL.
2.
Two, right? 2 kids that you helped mold and saved from ain't shit coaches that weren't teaching them shit, correct?
So it's fulfilling, yeah.
Yes, it's fulfilling, but it's not just the fulfilling part. It's like that is your goal. Your goal is not just to you're not even in it for the kids to go to the NFL. You're in it for to teach the kids to learn football, proper football, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So you see that manifested by just seeing the difference in how they were before you showed up.
Because I feel like they've been done a disservice, right? So it's a duty and a responsibility because I know the right thing to do, so I do it. But that shit is that you put a lot more effort in than what the return actually is, though, right? So the equity doesn't matter; it just has to be some level of return. Hold on, because y'all been talking a lot. So I'm trying to understand. I know, I got you. I'm trying to understand this point, right? So the equity doesn't matter, right? It just has to be a level of return.
It depends. Yeah. No, it depends. It depends on
this specific thing, so I can understand.
So for the football thing, that's what I'm saying. But you can't. If you do that, it's corner. Ham. I can only speak for that.
Don't corner it.
So that's what I'm saying. Your expectations of your coaching would not be the same thing. Expectations of your relationship with your wife. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we're talking about moral code and chivalry. Back to what Josh was saying, right? That I'm not really focused on that on the lady portion, right? Because chivalry was amongst men before. Okay, remember?
So let's say your homeboy, right? So let's say your homeboy. Say you got your man's that y'all been your man $100,000 for years, right? You and him cool. Yeah. He start violating. This be your man for life. And you know, whatever it may be, like you let him borrow some bread, he didn't give you the bread back, you know, he doing some shit you don't like, whatever it may be. Okay. At what point do you keeping that does he never stop being your man $100,000? At some point you're gonna have to leave him alone, right?
Yes.
All right. So that's what we're saying. So hold on. If and when you keeping your end of the contract, you've been faithful to him, you let him borrow money, you help him out, you give him advice. Whenever you're there for him and he needs you, you're there. But anytime you come up, hey, he not giving you the money back, you ask him for a favor, nah, my nigga, I can't do this, I'm busy, I'm la. At some point, you're gonna fall back, correct?
Yes.
All right, so it's the same thing.
But it's not the same as the kids. Let me ask one more thing, then y'all can jump in. I concede that one. I disagree with the kids so far. Let me ask you guys this one. There was an old guy at the light just last week, right? And he probably got dementia to some level. He couldn't get his car going, you know. and he's on a slight incline. So I went and parked my car and pushed his fucking truck across the street because that's moral code and principle, and pushed it into the other parking lot.
Yes.
Like, so but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't need no fucking catalyst to do what need to be done. When I see old ladies with Costco water, I know I got to stop what I'm doing and go grab the water and bring it to the car. That's what I'm asking about. What Josh is saying, not about the women, because chivalry wasn't about women in the first place.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to get clarity on.
Okay, it's okay. So number one,
I just want to understand
when you are showing kids how to play football, that's something you take pride in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you take pride in the fact that you're showing them how to play football, right? Now, once those kids have executed something that you showed them how to do, and you see them improving, right? You're literally visualizing the realization of your work. That's the reward that comes from it. You seeing something come into fruition that you put work into. You see what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with you pushing the car. The reason why you jumped out is because you wanted to genuinely help somebody, but the service of it is the reward, right?
Reward. Yes.
I got zero reward from that, Angry Man.
But no, every time you give $1, the Angry Man is right.
The reward,
he's wrong. There was no reward in that.
No, there was a reward in it. When you did it, it was whose truck was it? Was it an old lady or a dude? Who was
old guy.
Old guy, right?
Old white guy.
Old white guy. When you did it, did that old white guy turn to you and say, "Hey, man, I really appreciate your help"?
Maybe, and then I think he forgot his name the seconds after. But I think you probably said, yeah, he probably said.
That was the reward. That was the reward, even if you don't view it as a reward. And what the guys are saying is that when a dude is being chivalrous to a woman and she doesn't appreciate it, there's no reward. And that's not a monetary thing. That's none of that. It's just appreciation. You see what I'm saying?
Joshua, let me because I'm going to address both of you guys and then you can respond, right? Because the Angry Man is right. Every time you give $1 to a homeless person, 10 cents is for you. 90 cents is for the person. 10 cents is for you to feel good about yourself, for you to feel like you're actually responsible for society. You are doing your duty. The same way you carrying the groceries of an old woman, opening a door, all that. But they actually tackled it on a good point, right, Amp? The you coaching the kids. Would you coach the kids if they took the power of you, either punishment or discipline them? Example, a kid misses practice, a kid is acting up, a kid fights another kid, and you can cut them, you can bench him, you can do nothing. Would you still teach those kids, or you say, nah, if I don't have the power to enact a level of punishment and discipline, I'm not going to take the job? Would you be willing to do that?
If I could not discipline them, just on clear? No.
Yes. So that's exactly what we feel about women.
Yep.
These concepts are micro concepts. The village. There's Amp. He is the alpha of the village. Fantastic is the military guy. Angry Man is the police officer. Zoe is the Jesus Christ. I'm missing he's the knight. We were rewarded because the village would work the way that we wanted to work. And if woman went outside of that shit, there will be punishment involved. Now is a macro level. There's no village anymore. If a woman wants to be a hoe, she can go to the next school, she can go to the next city, she can fuck the next guy, and there's no punishment involved. And I don't want to take the word punishment because they react the wrong way. It's discipline. There's no discipline from bad behavior. So the same way you don't want to teach kids if you're not able to actually discipline when they do something wrong, we don't want to actually be good to women and take care of women and be righteous when there's no motherfucking reward. And every time I say, hey, you are doing something wrong, what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
You know what's ill?
Nothing.
That's that was a great, actually.
Checkmate. And I see you tomorrow. No, I don't. No. It was a joke. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, no, you know what, Fatty? So the school that I was coaching at that was really, really good. Like they probably get, I would say maybe 8 D1 kids a year. I know you don't play like football, but that's a lot.
D1 is like
that's a whole lot of kids, you know. And so I stopped coaching there because when we were in the playoffs, the head coach said verbatim, I don't give a fuck what they do in class. I ain't suspending nobody. I told him, Coach, this is my last season. Once you get to that point where you care about winning more than the kids, I can do it.
But I'm glad that actually people now understand. I'm actually glad that I'm actually glad that we actually went to the coaching, because that's exactly what we feel with women. If I can do nothing to correct your bad behavior because you have unlimited options, you can judge accountability, you can literally reset and go for another dude. Why am I doing all this effort in taking care of you, reform you, be a gentleman, opening doors, take my jacket, when you can literally say, I'm good, appreciate you, and move along, and there's nothing you can do. The village could control that shit. The priest, the pastor, everybody inside of that, your daddy, your grandma, the extended family. There was punishment for bad behavior if I acted out before. Now, there's nothing people can do to actually stop me. I am who I am. There's no village, so there's no accountability. So there's no social contract to be had, because on a macro scale, it doesn't work like it worked when we were 150 people on the village and everybody took care of each other. And your cousin and not your cousin, but angry man was the neighbor. He would whoop your son ass for doing some bullshit, and you would smile and say, angry man, thank you for actually disciplining my son. Appreciate you. And that shit is gone.
It's another part, just real quick, Josh. I know you're trying to get in there.
After you open the door.
But listen, just real quick.
You want to beat the shit out of her because she's like,
oh my God. Again,
listen, it's another part to duty, right? So just like you have the duty to, help or whatever, you have the duty to discipline. You have the duty to motherfucking, hey, if you are not doing what you're supposed to do, you cannot enable and encourage bad behavior. So if whoever's out of line, be it kids, be it a homeboy, be it a woman or whatever, and you can I know she did, and you continue to reward these people, they continue to get motherfucking good treatment, holding doors and doing whatever, whatnot, what have you. How do you retrain that? How do you get them to motherfucking understand the proper response to me doing something nice to you is just a simple thank you. I'm not asking for no money.
Josh's point. So Josh's point, and Josh can speak for himself, but normalizing the things that are considered chivalrous. So what I gather from Josh, and Josh can correct me, let's say we normalize that we all carry water at Costco. Now there's nothing for her to push back at, because the majority of the men have that standard that water is heavy as shit. If she's 50 and above, you carry the water. Then what would the women say at that juncture?
It's about being weaponized at that point. That's what Angry Man was making clear to me earlier. Was you can? Oh, matter of fact, go ahead.
Well, the pushback.
No, you can jump right in, Zoe. Just keep waiting.
If 55% of the population carried the water at Costco, right, and then just the one woman decided, oh, I'm a strong, independent woman, I can carry my own water, right? Yeah. Eventually, enough of the other women are going to push back on her naturally because they enjoy, I don't know, having their water carried kind of concept. That's the whole point of normative behavior, effectively. You can take this. People look at the concept of, I will wholeheartedly agree everything is incentivized. You're going to get something in return. Regardless, it's just not going to be quantified so easy. An example would be like Risky's talking about walking two ladies down the street kind of thing. The benefit that comes down to that is that neighborhood is now a little bit more safer because you just got one asshole runs by and sees two girls, and there's a big, huge black guy walking behind them, scary as shit. Now you got a problem, right? There's going to be less. What? There's going to be less bullshit and fuckery within the neighborhood. You're making the neighborhood secure, aka your kids are safer off. Future people. It's got a benefit, just not so quantitative immediately. You can't put like a dollar value on it immediately. This is the whole point about being a man. Nothing you do is going to be beneficial now.
But see, no, you got to leave that in the 1900s, bro.
The problem with that is that was the approach. That was the attitude and the approach that the boomers had.
Josh is racist.
And that was the approach that the boomers had.
Me too, Josh.
That's part of the reason why we're where we're at right now. I guess I ain't fucking talking. Fuck it.
Well, no, I'll say this. They heard you, bro. I don't. They was just on the bullshit. Listen, yeah, man.
Lead the boomers had.
Leave that shit in the 1900s, Josh.
Oh.
Again, bro, doing the same shit and expecting a different outcome is insanity. No, you literally have to force the culture and change it. If you're not being motherfucking appreciated, you stop giving your time. You stop motherfucking doing that shit, bro. The problem with men, right, is that at some point in time, right, let's see what, like football, right? Everything's good with football, right? Oh. So at one point in time, they started playing football. There were no helmets. But hey, motherfuckers was getting hurt and fucked up a lot. So then they say, hey, let's turn the motherfucking helmets into leather. And then they say, oh, this leather shit ain't doing too much good. Let's actually make them out of motherfucking styrofoam and hard ass plastic and right? Again, you adapt and you change with the fucking surroundings and the current. When you learn better, you do better. Right now, right here, right now, again, women are showing that they're not being fucking appreciative to men. So men need to motherfucking just go on about their own way. When the women are ready or whatever and they're prepared, that we'll come back around. But it's other shit we got going on. Okay. I refuse to motherfucking give my time and waste my time and waste my my good deeds on a person that's not gonna fucking appreciate it. Okay.
Well, I mean, all you're doing is just teaching women to be better adept at living without you. That's all you're doing.
Okay, cool. And the thing,
not really.
I'm gonna say this in Angry Man.
Yeah, really.
And Cali Bell, history has shown us that women cannot motherfucking make it without men. Eventually, you're going to fucking crumble. You're gonna fold. You're gonna need me before I need you.
Yep. No, fantastic. See, here's the thing. What you just said doesn't make sense based on the argument that the women have been given, right? Because basically, you're supposed to be man enough. You're supposed to be man enough playing football to take a head-on collision without a helmet. Why? Because men used to do that. Yeah. So because men used to do that, you should be able to still do that. What do we need helmets for? No, you're supposed to be man enough because the men back in the day could take that hit without a helmet. That's what y'all's argument is.
And then they were a vegetable a couple of years later.
I asked them about that.
The helmet was a byproduct that men did do that. Instead of men getting a couple men go to the hospital with a concussion, right? That's the thing that generated the helmet, the act of doing it.
Exactly.
And guess what? Exactly. The men learn better to do better. So said the men improve.
No, but that's not the same argument. Those men couldn't do it. That's why they were getting hospitalized and concussed.
No men could do it.
No, but listen to what Angry Man said. Angry Man said we should be able to do it today because they used to do it yesteryear. No, they didn't. That's why they were getting hurt and getting concussed at phenomenal rates. The point is they didn't do it either.
And that's why hold on. And that's why men today are constantly getting fucked over as well, trying to do what men did back in the day with the women they dealing with now.
Can I say my favorite saying? Men are raised to do what's right. Women are raised to do what's right for them.
Wait. Before you do that, Fatty. Before you do that, no, we gotta stick on this point.
Yeah, so, because Angry Man, they didn't do it. That's why they were getting hurt at phenomenal rates. They weren't successful.
You're not listening to yourself. Hold on.
Listen. They did do it.
Yes.
They weren't successful at it, which means there needed to be an adjustment, right? Just like how men today are trying to still be duty bound, but they're getting an adverse effect, so they need to make an adjustment. In fact, what the men are doing today, whether y'all women don't like it or not, is actually what leadership is. You don't want to act right? You don't want to do what you're supposed to do? Then we're going to stop doing this. We're going to stop doing that. We're not going to do this until you get back on course doing what you're supposed to do. That's actually what men are supposed to do. This argument that y'all keep raising that men ain't supposed to complain and men ain't supposed to tell women this and men ain't supposed to tell, that's bullshit. That's exactly what men are supposed to do.
And
we out.